So earlier, we have been talking about the arteries and the veins, its functions, and its definitions. Now, we will be moving forward to the cardiovascular system and its adaptation to dynamic exercises. So, to start, dynamic exercise move your muscles and joints through a large range of motion. So, basically, a dynamic exercise, as long as you're moving your joints, it is called dynamic exercise. It initiates a more appropriate increase in cardiac output and oxygen exchange. These stretches involve continuous movement, which prepares your body for an activity. So, there are two different types of exercises, which is dynamic and static exercises. Dynamic, it requires a lot of movement, as I said earlier, a large range of motion. And static exercises, it still stretches your muscles, but in a manner where you just stay still, where it's steady. Now, by doing this exercise, first and perhaps most simply, when humans exercise, there is an increase in their arterial pressure and heart rate. So when you say arterial pressure, it is a it is the force that is exerted by the blood on the arterial wall. And arterial blood pressure is not cardiac output. It should not be assumed that adequate blood pressure is synonymous with adequate cardiac output. Now, when you say, so what happens when your artery in to your cardiovascular system when you're doing dynamic exercises? So arterial pressure is increased, which is your blood flow, and despite the decrease in resistance, because cardiac output is increased more than vascular resistance is decreased. These changes, the physical forces acting on the large conducting vessels, might cause the vessels to deform and act in a manner that is similar to stretching exercises in skeletal muscle. That will be all for my report. Now we'll be moving on the cardiovascular system and its adaptation to endurance exercises.
So, cardiovascular system, arteries, and its adaptation to endurance exercise. So, endurance exercise, including walking, jogging, swimming, biking, and jumping rope, is it will improve our overall body, and it will improve our overall body by increasing our breathing, heart rate, and thereby it will maintain our healthy heart, lungs, and circulatory system. So endurance is needed, not just para sa ato, like also sa mga players like basketball players, mga swimmer, like that, like mga need og mga hangin. So it our arteries kasi it allows greater blood flow around the body, and it will also they said that the more steps you take per day is the more flexible your arteries make. So that's why we really need we to really need to do endurance exercise para maging flexible atong arteries. So di na ta kanang like pag mag-exercise di na ta dali hingalon, makontrol na ang atong breathing o also atong heart rate. So that's why lalo na sa mga player no na dira jud sila jud ang maka-experience ng mga endurance exercise. And to accommodate the higher aerobic demands and perfusion levels, arteries, arterioles, and capillaries adapt in structure and number. And it's the diameters of the larger conduit and resistance arteries are increased, and minimizing the resistance to the flow.
So, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmate. I am the last reporter. So, at this point, my topic is all about the cardiovascular system, arteries, and its adaptation to resistant exercise. So, meaning a while ago, arteries is carry blood away from the heart and um, have thick walls with the muscles, tissues, and also the adaptation to resistance exercise, we're gonna talk about that. So, resistance training enhance muscle strength by requiring muscles to work against a force using free weights machine, resistance bands, and one's own body weight. So, muscle fiber adaptation caused by resistance training, including increased cross-sectional areas of the middle. So, so first we're gonna talk about the difference between hypertrophy or hyperplasia. So hypertrophy is the increases the volume of an organ when these cells in organ. So hyperplasia refers to the process when cells is an organ of tissues. So arteries are thin muscular tubes that carry oxygenated blood away from the heart and every part of your body. So next, proceed to resistance training. So, it's a form of physical activities that is designed to improve muscular fitness by increasing in muscles or a muscular group against external resistance. It's any exercise that causes the muscles to contract against an external resistance with the expectation of increase in strength, power, hypertrophy, or endurance. So, hypertrophy is the increase in the volume of an organs when the cells is organ. So, when we do, example of that, when we do about exercise, or usually as a BPED student, we are gonna uh, exercise. So, ma-feel na to na ang ato ang heart is typically beat fast so that the more blood gets out to your body. So, heart rate increase during acute resistance exercise are due to vagal withdrawal and stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. It is likely that the sympathetic nervous system is stimulated by central command and from muscles, chemo and mechanoreceptors during exercise or every uh, resistance training. I mean. So most studies indicates the heart rate increase modestly during resistance exercise to volition fatigue. So what is the volition fatigue? So volition fatigue is achieved during a set of repetition in exercise when the muscles can no longer perform the certain to perfect form. So resistance training causes increased absolute left ventricular walls, um, thicker or thickness, and left ventricle mass. The increase are not an evident when expressed relative to the body surface area or lean body mass. So, um, resistance training is can reduce your risk of chronic disease, help you live longer, and avoid injury. That's it.